27 persons rescued, 2 dead as search for survivors in Abuja building collapse ends. Kaduna State Emergency Management Agency warns of flooding in 7 local government areas, ask residents to relocate. National Bureau of Statistics say unemployment rate drops to 4.1%. And away from Nigeria, voting extends into second day in Zimbabwe after multiple delays. These are the headlines on Trust TV News Update. I am Ayuba Ida. Thanks for joining. Search for survivors from the 2-story building that collapsed in Garki area of Abuja has ended with 27 victims rescued and 2 confirmed killed in the tragedy that occurred following heavy downpour Thursday morning. The 2-story building, which serves both residential and commercial purposes, collapsed on Wednesday night. 37 persons were rescued alive, while 2 others were fatally injured. Already, the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike, had visited the area as efforts are intensified to rescue the trapped persons. Last month, a 4-story building collapsed in the Life Camp area of the city with many wounded. It happened while workers were on the construction site in the Dape area near the Berger Clinic. Kaduna State Emergency Management Agency has warned of an imminent flood in 7 local government areas of the state, with a call on residents of flood-prone areas to temporarily relocate to safer places. Now, the new executive secretary of the agency, Usman Mazadu, who gave the warning shortly after taking over from his predecessor on Wednesday, listed the affected local governments as Kaduna North, Kaduna South, Jama'a, Sanga, Igabi, Kagarko and Jaba. While addressing the media, the Katsema boss advised residents to desist from indiscriminate dumping of refuse and waste materials in waterways and drainages to avert flooding during the rainy season. He also called on the residents to imbibe the habit of clearing gutters and drainages in their communities to guard against flood. According to him, the agency will in a few days come up with an action plan for the mitigation of any flood disasters that may occur in any part of Kaduna State. Meanwhile, the likelihood of devastation of flood is high in Adamawa, Taraba and Benue states if Cameroonian authorities release water from the Lagdo Dam. The Benue State government has directed residents living in flood-prone areas to relocate and to improve the sanitation of their areas. Jimmy Azande speaks to some of the residents who were affected by the flood in 2022.
No doubt, the river Benue is swelling up, a sign that there may be flood as predicted. The residents of these areas are not unmindful of this threat.
Human activities have made the flooding gradually become worse, in terms of the volume of water and in terms of the spread of the water, and again in terms of the level of devastation. So people living in such areas should ensure they clear their drainages and have clear passages, water passage, and for those that are building across drainages, they have to find a way of channeling the water back towards the river, because their properties are standing against nature.
The good thing, however, is that most residents said they are aware of a flood warning by NIMET, but they said migration is expensive too.
So, particularly I want to advise the public that those of us that are residing where every year this flood used to take place, we should to put our things in order so that when the flood occurs, should not be fined. We should not come back and start complaining that we have all our things got drawn.
The residents living in the flood-prone areas, especially students among them, are urged to vacate and not wait for the worst.
The news is flaunting internet of a flood that is about to take place this month due to some release of water from dam. So this is my advice to you as a student living in a riverine area. If you want to leave, because this flood might occur during our holidays, if you want to leave, please take home anything that is your belonging from your room. And if it happens to occur, and if you are in your room during the school session, beware and be careful, because anything flood is not always healthy to the society. It causes a lot of disasters and damages. So please, as we live, let us live with caution.
They hope the government will find a lasting solution to the perennial flooding in the River Benue states to avert losses that come with it. Jimmy Azandi, Trust TV News, Makurdi.
Adamawa State government has vowed to prosecute any person found guilty of diverting food items meant to cushion the effect of fuel subsidy removal in the state. Governor Ahmadu Umaru Fintiri in Yola gave the warning while inaugurating the State Palliatives Coordination and Distribution Committee. Salis Lawan reports that before the inauguration of the Palliatives Committee, there were calls for food assistance from across the state. The report.
There is hunger in the state, which many say is the direct consequences of fuel subsidy removal and delay from the government toward distribution of the palliatives. The pathetic situation prompted some wealthy individuals to assist their neighbors and the less privileged who barely feed themselves. Over 500 almajiris and less privileged feed from this pot provided by community volunteers.
So many children and the people living in this community, Azia Street, benefited with this program. There's many people who are sleeping without food. I mean, children and vulnerable women that are sleeping without food. They are sleeping with hunger. So we see that we need to initiate something that can help people.
In the meantime, the Adamawa State Chairman of the Palliative Distribution Committee, Awal Tuku, assured the residents that he will ensure a hitch-free distribution without any discrimination across the state to caution the effect of fuel subsidy removal.
We would hope to cure all, but we know that it's impossible to solve all problems at every time. But as much as possible, to reduce the pressure, reduce the tension on our people, and ensure that at least people get especially food to eat.
Earlier, Governor Fintiri, represented by his deputy, Khalif Tafwa Farauta, charged the committee to work for residents in the state, irrespective of where they come from.
This committee was constituted believing that they are people of very high integrity, people of high pedigree, people that will do Adamawa State proud, people that will do justice and fairness to all without sentiments of any type to our citizens, because we are one and one big family. We are brothers to each other no matter where we are all coming from. Adamawa is the project, and we should look at Adamawa as our project, not minding where we're coming from.
With the inauguration of the Palliatives Distribution Committee, stakeholders called for justice, fairness, and equitable distributions among residents. Salis Lawan, Trust TV News, Yola.
Now, rising cost of living continues to take toll on Nigerians, with many residents of Kebbi State expressing resentment over indifference of political leadership to the sufferings of the citizens without practical solutions to their plight. Omar Afanda reports that the rising price of food items has forced many households to struggle to feed.
There are glaring indications that people are becoming hopeless as the purchasing power of Nigerians is diminishing by the day. The means and sources of people's income have drastically reduced due to total absence of labor that has been affected by high cost of living. The current hike has definitely and overwhelmingly sunk the value of Nigerian wages, rendering Nigerians incapable of buying foodstuff at the rate it is now. And on the average, only few privileged Nigerians, high-class civil servants or political office holders now have the financial ability to purchase food at the cost it is. People have again become outrageous in the manner they allege indifference by the authorities to the current inflation, high level of impunity, rampant killings of ordinary Nigerians through banditry, and the manner of Nigeria's politics and the political actors. A foodstuff dealer in Birnin Kebbi Market, Malam Sambo, is one of those who expressed this outrage, saying that they only spend time in the market without buyers due to the current hike of foodstuff caused by subsidy removal. Nobody needs to be told the volume of hardship people are going through. I blame the government for not responding abruptly to the immediate yearnings of the people, which is hunger. Moreover, we in the north massively voted Tinubu, but he is not paying us with the right coin, because northerners are suffering the most because we are ravaged by so many things. This palliative the president is singing about is long overdue. I will not trust any palliative until I see it in my hands. I call on Tinubu and his government to hasten the distribution of the palliative. Cost of living? It is unimaginable. We will only need to pray to God. It is very serious. Aliu Muhammad, a Keke Napep driver, said if this kind of situation persists, they will be thrown out of business. But they are not sure of what will follow afterwards. Honestly, we are going through hell. Nobody can explain its depth. We are only buying petrol, roaming the street without passengers, who now resort to trekking. Bola Tinubu should, for God's sake, return the country to subsidy regime. We are tired. We can't bear it anymore. The problems of Nigerians are becoming cumulative, as many graduating youth are already jobless. The situation is indeed serious and calls for urgent attention. From Birnin Kebbi, Umar Afanda, Trust TV.
Police in Nasarawa State say that they have arrested a 38-year-old man, Abubakar Saidu, for allegedly abducting his neighbor's 2-year-old son at Orange Market, Mararaba, Karu, local government area of the state. Police Public Relations Officer DSP Rahman Nanso and said this while parading 5 suspected kidnappers at the police headquarters on Thursday in Lafia, the state capital. The report.
The 2-year-old boy was said to have been missing for 2 weeks and all efforts to trace the victim failed. Reports indicate that the suspected abductors demanded a ransom of 2,500,000 naira before they could release their victim, but were arrested in the process of negotiating the ransom.
A comprehensive investigation was carried out, which led to the arrest of Abubakar Saidu, who happens to be the neighbor of the father of the missing child. Upon interrogation, he confessed to have conspired with 4 others to perpetrate the crime. He also confessed to abducting the child and handed him over to his wife, Salamatu Abubakar, who now took the child to Katsina State, pending the outcome of negotiation and payment of ransom before the child will be released. But upon the arrest, Salamatu was also trailed and arrested, where the child was rescued and reunited with his parents.
I was arrested for stealing a 2-year-old boy. I needed money, and after I succeeded in stealing the child, I demanded for 2 million naira ransom. I handed over the child to my wife for safekeeping. I have no reason for keeping the child because the parents are my neighbors, and I regretted my action for stealing the child. I know the child, and I know the parents. They are my neighbors. I am ashamed of myself for taking part in the abduction of the child. My husband handed over the child to me, and I took him to Katsina State for safekeeping, pending when they will pay the 2 million ransom. I gave birth to children, but all of them are dead.
The PPRO said other suspects arrested by the command are 7 armed robbers, occultists, and sundry other offenders. The PPRO also said 3 firearms and 11 ammunition were recovered from the suspects. The suspects will be charged to court after conclusion of investigation.
House of Representatives has commenced an investigation into the alleged gruesome murder of members of a vigilante group in Eke, Udi local government area by the men of the Nigerian Army. According to some reports, men from the 82 Division of the Nigerian Army allegedly opened fire on some members of the Eke vigilante group who were on their way to respond to a distress call in their community, killing 2 of them, including a woman, and inflicting gunshot injury on 3 others. Chairman of the House Ad Hoc Committee, Sani Abdurrahim, who met with the Enugu State Deputy Governor, Ifeanyi Osai, on Wednesday, assured him of their resolve to uncover the truth and serve justice. They are in the state on a fact-finding mission to unravel the truth behind the unfortunate incident and bring the perpetrators to book. The Deputy Governor told the delegate about the government's interest in the case and why the job must be done with every sense of responsibility. The Speaker, Enugu State House of Assembly, who received the delegation, said nothing will be more rewarding than bringing the perpetrators to book. As residents await the outcome of the investigation, they will want to see the end of such assaults from officers whose primary responsibility is to ensure the safety and security of Nigerians. Now, the National Working Committee of the All Progressives Congress has announced the names of officers to fill vacant NWC and zonal positions in the party. The National Secretary of the party, Ajibola Basiru, announced this on Wednesday evening during a media briefing on the outcome of the NWC meeting held at the APC National Secretariat. The outgoing National Deputy Chairman, North, Abubakar Kyari, was replaced by Borno Party Chairman, Ali Dalori, while the outgoing National Women Leader, Betta Edu, was replaced by Mary Alile Idele from Edo State. Both Kyari and Edu were recently appointed ministers by President Bola Tinubu. Edu was appointed Minister of Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Alleviation, while Kyari was appointed Minister of Agriculture and Food Security. Others appointed are Garba Datti Muhammad as National Vice Chairman, Northwest, Professor Abdul Karim Abubakar Kana, National Legal Advisor, Donatus Wangpa, National Welfare Secretary, Duro Meseko, Deputy National Publicity Secretary, and Ikani Shuaibu Okolo as Zonal Organizing Secretary, North Central. You're watching the news update on Trust TV. Coming up shortly, we take a look at why Imo women are excited with appeal court judgment. Details and more after the break. Welcome back. You're watching the news update on Trust TV. Here's a look at the top stories. 27 persons rescued, 2 dead as search for survivors in Abuja building collapse ends. Kaduna State Emergency Management Agency warns of flooding in 7 LGAs, asks residents to relocate. Now, a vessel, MV Cecilia, arrested with about 350,000 liters of stolen automated gas oil, also known as diesel, in Woji, Obiakpo local government area of Rivers State, has been set ablaze by the Nigerian Navy. The vessel was seized by personnel of the Nigerian Navy ship Pathfinder Port Harcourt on Wednesday, August 16, with 3 suspects. The commander, Operation Delta Safe, Rear Admiral Olusegun Ferrari, represented by the Maritime Component Commander of the Joint Task Force for Operation Delta Safe South-South, Navy Commodore Adetoku Siambade, had conducted newsmen around the arrested vessel. Now, Ferreira said that the vessel, which has not been put into use for 2 years, was used as a storage tank for illegally refined products. He said as part of efforts to actualize the mandate of the Operation Delta Safe, the Commander JTF South-South of Operation Delta Safe directed the Nigerian Navy Pathfinder, based on credible intelligence, to conduct a covert operation in the area, which led to the arrest. He stated that the vessel has the capacity altogether, including the fuel and water capacity, of about 350,000 liters. Now, in other news, the recent judgment by Appeal Court in Lagos granting exclusive rights to local governments to conduct statutory marriages is getting commendation in Imo State. Ajibade Wafio reports that residents welcome the development.
The news that marriage registry at the local government councils are now empowered to issue marriage certificates is good news to many residents of Imo State. For some respondents, especially women in Owerri, the Imo State capital, marital union consummated through the marriage registry serve the same purpose.
But it only back us up as women, and the kind of culture we have in this part of the world is not favorable to women. It's always the men against the women. So I just feel it's comfortable, it's safe, it's simple too, because the cost of registering your marriage is so simple compared to the traditional, compared to the church.
But oftentimes, when these marriages are conducted, are contracted other ways, rather than in the court, in the registry, you see that when at the demise of the man, the woman is made to go through all sorts of harmful practices. And most important is that she's disinherited. But where you go to the registry, you see that it's for the benefit of the whole family.
A marriage counselor, Bright Njok, said the religious, traditional and court marriages are all important depending on individuals and the purpose. While rooting for religious and traditional marriage, he disapproved of the fears entertained by women as reasons for choosing court marriages. For him, court marriages should be for documentation purposes.
He said that he that findeth a wife findeth good thing and obtaineth favor from God. And the Bible went further and said, wife, submit to your husband. And husband, do what? Love your wife. If you are a true Christian believer, following the true Christ-like characteristics or other thing, you know that you cannot jettison your wife, you cannot joke with your wife.
Marriage registry at the local government level is already experiencing patronage. A visit to Owerri Municipal Local Government revealed people have started coming for registration.
The idea of traveling or having a particular registry where you can get married in a particular locality sometimes may not be favorable. So if I could get it from my local government, why not? It's perfect.
This is a trend, and this will protect their families and their union more. Why not? Knowledge is not stagnant. It's progressive and innovative. So they decide to leverage the registry opportunity. It's the best thing.
Marriage registry that suspended their services are now back in full operation following the court judgment in most local government councils of the state. Ajibade Awofeso, Trust TV News, Owerri.
The National Bureau of Statistics has stated that Nigeria's unemployment rate is 4.1% in the first quarter of 2023. Speaking during the launch of a new methodology for the calculation of labor survey on Thursday in Abuja, the Statistician General of the Federation, Semiu Adeyemi Adenira, said that the new figure is bringing Nigeria's labor survey in tandem with international standard. He said that the survey was conducted in collaboration with the World Bank and the International Labour Organization and has been adopted by 26 countries in Africa. He added that the figure for the fourth quarter of the 2022 is 5.3%. He said the new methodology considered employed persons as those who engaged in at least 1 hour of work during the last 7 days the survey was conducted. And he stressed that the new figure was not to give the new government a good face, but to bring up the method used to conduct labor survey in the country. Now, away from Nigeria, voting continued into the early hours of Thursday in Zimbabwe's crucial general election, the second since the exit of longtime ruler Robert Mugabe in a 2017 coup. President Emmerson Mnangagwa issued a proclamation on Wednesday evening to permit voting to continue into a second day after delays in delivering ballot papers to many polling units. Mnangagwa, 80, is seeking a second term in office. There are 12 candidates running for president, but his main rival is Nelson Chamisa, 45, of the Citizens Coalition for Change. A ballot continuing began at some polling units after voting closed on Wednesday, but in Harare suburbs such as Glen Nora and Kuanzana, voting had yet to begin as at 7 p.m. when the polls were meant to have officially closed. In several towns and rural areas in the eastern province of Manicaland, voting will also occur on Thursday. Many stations in the two biggest cities, Harare and Bulawayo, permitted voting into the early hours of Thursday evening, even as some people left the polling unit out of frustration at being unable to vote. And that's a wrap on the news update. You can watch more via all our social media platforms and also on our YouTube live stream. I am Ayuba Ilya. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.